Welcome to Gentle Yoga for Back Care. We alternate this class with the chair Tai Chi. So today is Gentle Yoga for Back Care. Next week, chair Tai Chi. You'll need a yoga block, a strap, non-stick surface, so maybe like a yoga mat, and you can do this class seated on the chair. So if you want to do the class seated on the chair, you're going to need a chair, of course. And I use a blanket when I'm on my hands and knees to kind of cushion that spicy knee. In Veterans Yoga Project, we do 5 things. We do breathing, mindful movement, meditation, guided rest, relaxation, and a gratitude practice, all in a 1-hour class, or maybe it's a 45-minute class. So we'll try to get all that in, plus the top 40 postures we use for easing back pain. We won't do 40 today. That'd be like a 2-hour class, maybe 2.5 hours. Y'all will be worn out by then. I would be worn out by then. But anyway, so I'm going to stand up, move this front chair out of the way. I come back up to the front of the room when we do the guided rest and relaxation and that gratitude practice. So, here's my chair. I use the chair to come down to the floor again because I have this spicy stuff going on with my backside. So I contract my belly button, hands on the chair, step a foot back, and then the other. If you're doing the seated version, I invite you to be here more at the front of the chair, not in the back of the chair, okay? Because we kind of get a little lazy when we're in the back of the chair. We're not using those tall posture muscles. So I'm going to tip over, and I'm actually going to move that chair out of the way. My block and strap are close by, so again, make sure your gear is close by. You can always do the class without gear. Do the class without gear, then get the recording. Find maybe a couch pillow or a long tie, something that you have at home to see how it feels different. All right, so I'm going to lie on my back. It's called constructive rest posture. This is a very popular posture that was kind of named this from Pete Egoscue. So Pete Egoscue is a retired Marine from Vietnam War. He became a physical therapist, and he developed easing back pain. So part of what we do in this class is from Pete Egoscue. He's written about 7 books, so he's worth checking out if you want to dig deeper in releasing back pain. So again, constructive rest posture, feet on the floor, knees bent, back on the yoga mat, sitting up tall, away from the back of the chair if you're doing the chair version. So for me, because I have scoliosis and rotated scoliosis, in other words, my spine rotates in addition to shifting over to one side, this does not feel good in my body. So I grab my wrist, pull the shoulder up and away, already feels better, and then I do the same with the other side. Now sometimes that's still kind of spicy for me, so what I'll do is I'll walk my feet towards my behind, lift my behind up, and then roll my spine back on down. Sometimes that kind of, because I have my curve here in my lumbar spine and in my thoracic spine. I got some crazy trained stuff going on. So this makes it more comfortable for me. What we'll do first, if you're seated in the chair, you may want to use a strap. You may want to use the strap when you're laying on the back. But we're going to do knee to chest posture. So you're going to squeeze your belly button nice and tight, lift one foot off the yoga mat, and invite the knee in towards your chest. So you're noticing, for one thing, your range of motion when you do these exercises, these movement sequences, this breathing, all this stuff. So how close is the leg in towards your body? Is it into the hip crease? Is it into the side torso? Is it into the low ribs? You'll compare that one side versus the other. If you're doing this class because you saw, gentle yoga for back care, that implies, that infers that maybe you have some challenges with your back, yeah? So this is that class for those situations. Healthy backs class. So from here, we're going to contract the belly button. And if you're seated on the chair, you may want to have the strap along the bottom of the foot. We're going to extend the leg out. Actually, you may want to have the strap on the bottom of the foot lying on your back too. But you're going to notice where your leg feels comfortable in space. So it's a little bit more far away than towards me, for me. So again, you may kind of move it a little bit and find that nice spot. From here, we're going to inhale, belly gets big, and you invite the knee in towards your chest. As you exhale, contract that belly button and extend that leg out. Woo, snap, crackle, pop. Inhale, knee into chest. Exhaling, leg out. Now, sometimes what I'll do with that yoga strap, I'll place it along the bottom of the foot and then extend my leg a little bit more far away because I know I am able to bring the knee back into the chest because I got the strap, okay? So that's kind of like my safety net there. So we're lubricating the hip joint, the knee joint. You may be hearing, you may be feeling that little snap, crackle, pops. So again, we got to get a little bit of warming up stuff going on before we kind of do the strength training of our class. And I feel kind of catchy in my hip today. It's just an odd feeling. It doesn't feel like normal for me. So, so I'm noticing that, I need this today. Let's do a couple more. Just take breaks when you want to and do what you can with what you got. Okay? Okay. Couple more. And then again, knee into the chest. I'm going to release my strap and let's do some point and flex of the foot. So we're isolating that ankle joint. Again, warming up the ankle joint. That helps you to have better balance. If you don't work from the foot to the head, especially the feet, because, we're bouncing on the feet every day, things get stiff and you have a likely ability to fall. Now let's do ankle circles. Draw the circles inward first. Ooh. Snap, crackle, pop. So I know that I'm very stiff in this left ankle. I'm trying to think because I'd sprained this in my 30s. Big O sprain, big time sprain. And then reverse, other direction. Your shapes may be different when you go the other direction. And you may notice a lot of heat happening in the shin, in the ankle area. And release. Woo! Let's do the other side. So squeeze the belly button towards the spine, lift the other foot up, and again, invite the knee into the chest. Now here you're noticing, okay, this side versus the first side. So for me, this is in my side torso. It's a little bit more in towards my body easily. I'm not forcing it. I'm not trying to force it, okay? And we're going to be doing that same movement sequence. We're lubricating the knee. We're lubricating the hip joint. But first, extend that leg out in the air. And you can be on the back of the heel when you're doing this seated on the chair. It does not have to be in the air if you're feeling like stress in your lower abdominals, your abdominals. And again, you can take the strap along the bottom of the foot if you're lying on your back, if you're seated in the chair. Now from here, with the breath, breathe in, the belly gets big, and knee in towards the chest. And then exhale, belly button tight, extend that leg out. Notice the noise that might be happening. Again, inhale, knee into chest. Maybe yours is faster, and that's okay. Exhale, leg out. Just kind of coordinate your breath with your movement. That helps to lessen anxiety, lower your cortisol, your stress. So there's like a scientific reason for doing yoga. Lower that cortisol, which is linked to increased belly fat. Woo! My knees are talking right now. They're doing crinkly stuff. I've had ACL and the other CL tear. One leg did one thing and the other one did the other. It's kind of crazy. And just notice if you're feeling like fatigue in your hip when you're doing this. Again, take breaks when you need to, okay? Let's do 3 more wherever you are, if you can, okay? Woo! I hope you all are counting. I think it is 2. And then 1 more, and invite the knee into the chest. Now let your foot dangle, knee in towards your chest, hands back behind your knee pit. We can have an armpit, we can have a knee pit. And let's point and flex this foot, or the second side. Ooh, my foot just snapped right there. Snap, crackle, pop. So when I worked at DuPont, I was information technology in my first career. Yoga is, I guess, my second career. I wore steel toe shoes because I was out in the field doing the computer backups and all that, and the hard hat and the Nomex and all that good stuff. But those steel toe shoes kind of cramp the toes in towards one another, similar to if you're wearing high heels that are not necessarily the best for feet, or shoes with heels that kind of tilts you more forward than kind of a neutral spine. Couple more points and flexes. And then relax, and then draw a circle inward with your foot. Oof. Notice that this feels different, this side versus the original side. And then other direction, go the other way. My shape is bigger going the other way. I don't know why that is. It's not the same, that's for sure. And then relax it and release it down to the floor. So we're going to do what's called the notice pose. Last couple of times when I taught this, I forgot about notice pose. So you're going to extend both feet, lay on the back of the heels if you're seated on the chair. And those of us on the floor, go ahead and extend a leg all the way towards the edge of the yoga mat, and then the other. Excuse me. Woo, I feel super stiff in my kind of hip complex, and I don't know, that left shoulder feels kind of sticky to the floor, and the calves, it just doesn't feel wonderful to begin with. We've only really done 2 movements: constructed rest pose, knee to chest, extend the leg out. Actually 3. And then, of course, the point and flex. But we're going to work on it. Yay! So draw your belly button towards your spine. Put your feet back into its normal position. Yay! Constructive rest pose. Again, this pose right here is like a great pose for releasing back tension. We're going to do a big toe hold next. So grab your yoga strap. I'm going to take the buckle out of the loop out of my yoga strap because I want to use like the full length of the strap. I had this all kind of geared up for our chair yoga for fall prevention last Friday, and I didn't take the strap off. All right, so I'm going to go back to the original side, belly button tight, take the middle part of the strap along the bottom of my foot, do the same if you're seated on the chair, and then we're going to be vigorous here. I mean vigor, vigor, vigor. This is one of the 12 yoga postures for building bones in the Dr. Lauren Fishman's bone study, Building Bones. 12 yoga postures to improve bone density. So hands on either side of the yoga strap. We're going to pull on that strap. Now we got to really have some dynamic contraction. I'm going to bend my knee towards my chest a little bit and then really push into the strap. So I'm pulling and pushing. I'm feeling this in my hands also. My low back is pressed firmly on the floor. You're here seated on the chair. You're resting on the back of the heel, legs straight out from you. You're pulling and pushing, maybe scooted towards the edge of the chair, okay? So that's your version of this posture. Pull, push into the strap. Woo! Now, if this is too much for the hand grip, although this helps build hand grip by gripping, what you could do alternatively is bring your hands up the strap a little bit so you have enough room to wrap your wrists and then re-engage, pull, push. You might feel this in your forearms, your biceps, your triceps, your shoulders, your upper back muscles, depending if you're seated or lying on your back, depending on your vigor also. We have to stay in this particular yoga posture 30 seconds to a minute 12 seconds to get the bone building benefit. When you stimulate those large muscle groups, that stimulates bone growth. Better than Fosamax. Okay, well, I don't know if that's true, but some folks don't want to take those drugs, so they're looking for natural ways to build their bone density. So are you pulling and pushing? I think you are. Yes, okay. Now, other foot. Tap, tap, tap the other foot. It's great for vibrational energy. Tap, tap, tap. And then we're going to take that tappy foot, drop the knee out to the side. That's kind of like a counterweight. We're keeping both buns on the back side of the yoga mat or on the yoga mat. And then this leg that's in the sky, drop it out to the side. So when that opposite hip starts to roll off, that's your cue, that's your stopping point. Now you're still pulling and pushing. Hello, forearms. Oh my gosh. Now my opposite shoulder is raised up a little bit. That's okay because I'm trying to keep the back side, the behind, the high hip on the yoga mat as I'm pulling and pushing into that yoga strap. Woo my. We will take a little break before we start with the second side. But again, guess what? We got to stay in this yoga posture about 30 seconds. And I'm kind of doing a guesstimate here, but you know, you're probably wondering, why is she talking so much? So that we don't have empty space while we're waiting for that 30 seconds to happen. And I try to give some little antidotes about this particular yoga posture. Big toe hold, leg out to the side. Now, guess what? Belly button tight. Bring everything back to the center. Release the strap. Don't let it hit you on the face. Oh, my hands feel like they're stiff, right? And bring your feet back onto the yoga mat. Clap your hands. Woo, do that again. And let's rub some feeling back into the hands. This is good for, you know, osteoarthritis anyway, doing the nice rubbing of the hands like you're starting a campfire or a fire. Oh, my hands are already warming up. I love it. This is also part of our stroke prevention series when you do the hand manipulation. Open up those blood vessels, okay? All right, let's do the other side, shall we? So bring the other leg to where you can put that strap along the bottom of the foot or bottom of the foot on the strap. One or the other. I don't know which one it is. And again, I'm going to make them more even. I'm just kind of bent that way. I'm going to pull, bend my knee, push. Ooh, does this feel different? It might. And you know what? I'm lining up the top of my foot with my ankle, my shin, my knee. So I don't want that foot to turn out to the side, okay? Pull, push, pull, push. Again, you're probably feeling this in other places besides the calf, the knee, the shin, the hamstring, the quadricep, the behind. You're probably feeling this in the forearms, elbows, upper arms, maybe the shoulders, maybe the upper back. I'm going to shift my hands a little bit more towards me so I can wrap my wrists and then re-engage so I get that good, woo, muscular contraction. Oh my. I occasionally check my feet because my feet are kind of sneaky. They like to turn out to the side. So I'm always kind of looking, okay, realign. Imagine if it happens to me, it might happen to you too. Again, if you need to take a break because it's like, woo, spicy, well, you can do one of two things. Maybe it's spicy and you can bend the knee a little bit. Maybe that makes it better. Maybe it makes it feel different, and that's for sure. Or you can listen to the breath going in through the nose and out through the nose. Sometimes that allows you to stay in the posture. So in chair Tai Chi, it's called Dantian breathing, which means about 2 inches or 2 finger widths below the belly button. As we breathe in, we expand the belly out. So let's do that. Breathe in, belly gets big. And then as we exhale, we like really severely contract the belly button towards the spine. Get all the air out of the lungs. Again, breathe in, belly out, and exhale. So it's a little bit of a noisy breath. You can hear it. Okay, I think we've been there 30 seconds. So tap, tap, tap the other foot. Here we go. Here we go. Drop the knee out to the side. That counterweight, you're on the side of the foot if you're here on your back. And then drop the leg out to the side. So you shift your leg out to the side if you're doing this seated on the chair. You don't necessarily have to drop the other leg out to the side, although sometimes that does help with kind of being very firm, solid into the seated version of this pose. Now, the wall is stopping me here, but you know, I can't really go much further. But again, I'm looking, is my toes aligned with my shin, my knee? Am I flaring that foot out to the side? Am I enjoying this posture? Not necessarily. But I definitely am feeling it today. Pull, push. Get that grip strength going on. Your toes may be doing weird things because you're kind of stimulating ligaments a little bit different than normal, yeah? I have a pinky toe that likes to kind of like talk on its own when I do big toe hold, leg out to the side. Keep pulling, keep pushing, get that muscular contraction, build those bones. Again, this is a posture for easing back pain, by the way. That's why it's included. And it just so happens to be a bone building posture also. And release. Yay! Bring it back to the center. Release the strap. Don't let it hit your face. Clap your hands. Oh, that was a nice one. Rub, rub, rub. My husband says my claps are too loud. Now, how can claps be too loud? I want to ask y'all that. Maybe he means something else, like maybe they're obnoxious claps. That could be what it is. That's probably what it is. All right, very good. Got the hands all warmed up, circulation going back in. So I'm going to take my yoga strap out to the side, but I'm keeping it close by because you never know, we may need it. We're going to do windshield wipers next. So seated people, you know what? You may want to take your yoga block and place the balls of the feet on the yoga block just to add a little height here. It doesn't translate the same lying on your back. So if you can do this also before you get out of bed or when you get into bed at night, it's wonderful. You're going to take a foot, and, well, actually a leg, and drop the knee out to the side. So some folks, this is spicy. So you may have to take that yoga block and bring it underneath to rest that leg. Now I'm on the side of the foot, so I'm stimulating the side of the foot with the leg that I dropped out. So again, it's kind of like the windshield wipers on the bus, if you know that song, or on the car. And we're going to take that top leg, drop it towards the bottom leg. So we have a little low lumbar twist. Now we're not going to the spicy place where that might be. So for me, I'm feeling a little bit of spice on that top hip musculature area. It's okay, but it's like getting close to like not okay. So again, you're going to have lots more body awareness doing these yoga classes. That's my hope for y'all. Now squeeze the belly button towards the spine. Take top leg back to the center. Yay, that was good. Bottom leg back to the center. And we're going to do the windshield wiper on the other side. So drop the other knee out to the side. And I don't need the block on this side. So there's already a difference, you know, doing the windshield wipers. Take that top leg, drop it towards the bottom leg. Your hands may be back behind you on the chair when you do this or hanging onto the chair. So, you know, just make it comfortable. There's, you know, again, the top booty, the top hip is up and off the ground. So again, it's a little sweet twist going on here. You may feel like from your hip bone to your armpit, you've got this kind of elongation feeling or attraction feeling. Those are my words for it. You may be feeling something different. Hopefully it's not spicy, like painful spicy, okay? We'll always do less if there's pain. Now, contract the belly button. Bring that top leg. You can use your hand to bring it back to the center. And then that bottom leg. I can feel my back pop on that, by the way. Let's do that one more time. Then we'll do notice pose again. So again, go to the original side, drop it out. So I don't need it on the second time, the block underneath, because it's already kind of warmed up and opened up. And then take the top leg, drop it towards the bottom leg. Woo! I'm twisting a whole lot more this second time around. You might be noticing that too. So just kind of like enjoy or endure this low lumbar twist that's happening here. Both shoulders, as best they can, are on the yoga mat. They're not on the yoga mat if you're seated, though, are they? No, they're not. All right, squeeze the belly button. Take the top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Woo! Let's do the other side to finish it off. So here we go. Drop the leg out to the side. Ooh, that feels yummy. That feels yummy to me. I don't know why. And then top leg towards that bottom leg. Oh my gosh, I can almost slide my hand underneath the entire top behind. Before there was more behind on the yoga mat. So again, there's a less of a kind of a pulling sensation going on. So just in those two movements of this kind of movement sequence, it's already increased in range of motion. That's what I'm noticing. Squeeze the belly button, bring the top leg back to the center, nice and gentle. Bottom leg back to the center. Woo! And then, you know what? Stomp your feet. Wiggle the legs. Sometimes it's easier to wiggle the legs than it is to stomp when you're on your back. Just do what you can, right? And let's extend the legs outward for that notice pose. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, and then the other one. You're on the back of the heels as you extend the legs. So this is not as dramatic seated on the chair as it is lying here on your back. So, oh my God, I do not feel all kind of stoved up in my hip musculature anymore. And I feel more like connected to the floor with the thighs and the back of the knee and the calf. And this right side shoulder feels a little bit more melted. Those are my words. You may notice some differences. Let's just hope so, right? And then contract the belly button towards the spine. Slide a foot onto the yoga mat, then the other. Now I'm going to come and sit up and demonstrate this next posture, but we're going to be going back down to the yoga mat. I just want to show like the chair versions, okay? So it's overhead extension, squeeze the block, and I forget what else it's called. What does it say on my list? Letter T arms, overhead extension, squeeze the block. This is what this is called. So we're going to take probably the skinniest, or maybe the second skinniest width in between the legs. And then what we'll do, we'll have the arms out in front of us, and we're going to do what's called golfer's grip. You fold the fingers into the pads of the hands as best you can. It may be more low into the palm. And then you're going to bend at the elbows and place the back of the arms on the floor. You're seated. It's parallel arms to the floor. And you're going to squeeze the shoulders and release. And you're squeezing that block at the same time. You have a continuous squeeze going on here. So this is to strengthen the upper back musculature and the low back musculature and to work the shoulder complex. If you've got some stuff going on, bursitis, who knows, right? One shoulder is going to keep you from doing too much, okay? So just know you probably will not go too far if you're having some issues, some challenges. So again, this is to help with back pain. So often where your back pain is not where the problem is. It may be a referred pain. So grab your block in between the legs, lay on that yoga mat, walk the feet a little bit towards your behind if you want to. Now it's, again, a continuous squeeze here. I'm doing the medium width today. All right, so I'm going to have my arms out in front of me like I'm super person here, and I'm going to fold my fingers into the pad of my hand and then turn my thumbs towards the center. This looks weird. I'm going to adjust my block a little bit. It was feeling weird in between my legs. I moved it more towards my knees. Now from here, bend the elbows so the back of the arms are on the yoga mat, parallel forearms to the floor. I'm going to walk my feet in towards one another so I get a good, consistent inner thigh, outer thigh squeeze here. So here we go. We're going to squeeze the shoulders towards one another or press the upper back into the floor and release. Squeeze and release. We don't hold the breath. Just keep breathing however you can. Squeeze and release. Two more. Squeeze and release. One more. Squeeze and release. All right. Relax the shoulders. Hands in front of your chest. Clap the hands. Rub the hands. So here comes the second part of this posture. You're going to interlace the fingers, squeezy palms. Look and see that the elbows are doing the same. My right one likes to flare out, so I always got to make it the same as my left. Now, if you're laying here on your back, lower the back side of your arm, your shoulder, back into the floor, so it's the same every time. Now, squeeze the block, belly button tight, arms overhead. Now, we're not going fast. This is a slow-mo exercise because you're kind of noticing, hello, shoulders, are they keeping me from doing stuff? Sometimes the weight of the arms will bring the arms up and overhead. Now, this is more tough to do seated on the chair. Just know this because we're working gravity a little bit different. So I'm here on the side of my glasses. I'm going to take my thumbs, wiggle my thumbs, and then going back to re-squeezing my thumbs, belly button tight, core tight, squeezy block. Let's bring the arms back slowly in front of your chest. This is one of these magic postures right here. This one right here. And release the hands, clap the hands. Don't squeeze the block so much right here while you're getting circulation back into the hands. Again, this is a good thing. Let's do that super person arms again. Fold the fingers into the pads of the hand. Turn the thumbs to the center. All right. Squeezy belly button towards the spine. Bring the back of the arms onto the floor. Parallel arms to the floor if you're seated. Now, squeeze the shoulders. Squeeze the block. Keep squeezing the block. Release the shoulders. Squeeze the shoulders. Release. Three more. Squeeze and release. Two more. Squeeze. Keep squeezing the block and release. One more. Here we go. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. My voice is cracking. And then bring the hands in front of you. Clap the hands. Yay. Kind of unleash the squeeze of the block, but keep squeezing, but not as hard, okay? Then from here, interlace the fingers, squeezy palms, shoulders down, super straight arms, elbows look the same. All these checkpoints to do, yeah? Now slowly, slowly, arms up, overhead, slow, not fast, slow. Woo! Because you want to feel that challenge. Oh my gosh. So I'm here on the side of the glasses. I'm coming more towards my ears. Now I'm going to wiggle my thumbs. I'm at my stopping point. So I've got that pacemaker in on that left side. So sometimes the left side kind of keeps me from going deeper into the posture, and that's okay. You do what you can with what you got. Now I'm going to squeeze the palm, belly button tight, squeezy block. Slowly bring the hands back in front of the chest. Sometimes the getting started place is the hardest to do here. And then kind of release the squeeze of the block, clap the hands. Ooh, that was a loud one. Rub the hands. That was my obnoxious clap. How about that? Man, I just really want to get the ball of my hand, that pad of my hand warm. All right, last time. Yay! So, super person hands. Okay, fold the fingers into the pads, thumbs towards the center, and then bend at the elbows, back of the arms on the floor, parallel forearms to the ground if you're seated. Squeeze the block. Get that squeeze going on. Here we go. Squeeze the shoulders, and release. Squeeze, keep squeezing the block consistently, and release. Three more. Squeeze and release. Two more. Squeeze and release. Last one. Super squeeze. Let me hear y'all squeeze. All right, bring the hands in front of your chest, clap your hands. Kind of release that squeeze of the block. You know, sometimes we go like at 80%, maybe close to 100. Around 50 to 60 is all you need to do, but sometimes we do a little too much. I understand. Interlace the fingers, squeeze the palms, shoulders down, elbows look the same. Okay, as best they can at least. And then belly button tight, squeeze the block, re-engage. All right, last time. Arms up overhead. Go slower if you can. Woo, my belly's shaking. Oh my gosh. Don't forget to breathe. So I'm here on the side of my temples. I'm going to wiggle. Ooh, I wiggled my thumbs. I'm able to touch the floor this time. So this is how I notice the increase of range of motion. So again, strengthening the upper and lower back musculature, working with those shoulders. Squeeze the block, squeeze your hands, squeeze that belly button. Slowly, bring it back to our starting place. Again, go slow. Go slow. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. All right, release the block, release the hands, clap the hands. Yay, that's over. Today is mainly on the floor. There might be some standing, I don't know. Sometimes you need to get on that couch, get on that coffee table, get on that bed, get on that chair, and kind of do these therapeutic style yoga postures. Take that block out, yay. You know what? Let's do the notice pose. So extend the leg. Oof. Extend the other one. Do you always start with one side when you extend? Do you ever switch it up? Move those shoulders, move those legs. Notice how you feel in your yoga posture, the notice pose, whether you're seated, whether you're lying on your back. Does it feel different than the previous time or the first time? It should. That's my statement. It should. All right. Squeeze the belly button towards the spine. Slide a foot back onto the yoga mat. Then the other. You know what? We're going to do pigeon and piriformis bounce. Might as well, right? I'm going to turn sideways a little bit. And again, you're using a block. Maybe you're using a strap if you're seated in a chair, depending on how much flexibility you have with, you know, your hips, your knees, all that good stuff. So again, I'm going to turn sideways so maybe it can be seen a little bit better. And again, I'm going to keep my block close by. So here we go, block close by, and maybe the strap. So again, we're at the edge of the chair, but we're comfortable with the behind. Because sometimes if your behind hits the chair just right, it gets a little spicy. So you may need to, you know, move around a little bit to make it feel better. So we're going to take one leg up into the air and shake it. And then wiggle it and shake it again. Now, here's the thing. If you're seated, again, depends what your flexibility is. Maybe you're crossing here at the ankle bone, knee out to the side. If you're doing this version, knee out to the side, cross at the ankle. You'll probably need your strap threaded underneath the bend of the knee, because what we're going to do is pull that knee towards us and let it release. Now, if it's available, maybe you can slide that top leg on top of the thigh, ankle past your thigh. So again, depends how this hip musculature feels for you. So whichever one you need to do, this is what you're going to do, either the ankle or on top of the thigh. Now we're going to bounce the piriformis muscle. You can take your yoga block, your hand, your own muscular strength, and wiggle that top leg. I like to use the block to push it away if I'm on my back. You're seated. What you need to do is pull it towards you and let it release. It feels like, because there's not much range of motion when you're pushing the leg away when you're seated. So again, you know, you're kind of working gravity a little bit different. This one's kind of spicy seated on the chair, by the way. So if you like spice, this is going to be your pose. It can be spicy. Let me just put it that way, okay? Some folks are like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So why are we doing this? Because we're warming up the muscle, the piriformis muscle. Sometimes that sciatica nerve, you know, goes from the toe all the way to the tip of the head. It's called something different once it hits the belly button. And it splits, goes on, you know, left leg, right leg. But if you've got scoliosis, disc degeneration, bulging discs, maybe a SI joint, something weird going on where that sciatic nerve is getting pinched, it's going to send down pain or numbness or tingling down your leg, and it can move depending on where it gets pinched. So we're warming up that muscle with the bounce. Now we're going to make this a little bit more active. Make everything still. And then we're going to take the bottom foot. Guess what? Tap, 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 bottom foot. That's for body awareness. And then we're going to press that bottom foot firmly into the floor. So you're going to feel this traction feeling with the bottom hip, bottom foot, quadricep. So there's kind of a strong sensation going on here. Top leg. Take your toes, point them towards your knee, calf engaged. Top leg also. Squeeze both buns or squeeze top bun and push top leg away, either with your own muscular strength or your hand, or softly with your yoga block, but you're pressing the bottom foot firmly into the floor, feeling that traction feeling from where your shoulder blades, your back side of your ribs, and your back pelvis bones. So you're feeling this kind of lengthening, elongation feeling. And again, we're just trying to make it be a little bit less unnervy. So we don't want the pinchy, nervy stuff, that sciatica, okay? So we're trying to kind of floss, kind of soothe the sciatica and relax and release everything. Woo! Bounce the top leg once again. However you bounce it again. And then bring that top leg up into the air. Shake, shake, shake. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Shake, shake, shake. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And release it down to the floor. Let's do the other side. Other leg goes up into the air. Shake. Kind of get some lymphatic flow going on here before we kind of do the work, yeah? Wiggle side to side. That always feels weird, wiggling side to side to me. And again, shake, shake, shake. Again, decide what you're going to do. Is it ankle on top of the ankle, knee out to the side? Is it leg on top of the thigh? Now, we got to bounce the top leg, however you need to bounce. So I'm going to take my hand and bounce on this side. Again, you can pull it up towards you and let it release. It activates the back side of the pelvis a little different when you pull it towards you and let it release. And then I have some folks that just grab their leg and they go up and down, up and down. So you got to find, you know, whichever one feels better for you. And again, your sciatica nerve pain can go from one leg to the other depending where it gets pinched, okay? Again, we're heating up that piriformis muscle, getting it kind of warm, getting some movement going on here. And then make everything still. And then tap, 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 bottom foot. And then firm bottom foot into the floor. Take the top toes, point them towards your knee, whether you're at the ankle or on top of the thigh. Squeeze both buns or top bun. If you're seated, be really tall and lengthy, and you're going to hinge forward. Maybe your hand on the legs. It gets spicy with that top behind side, though. Those of us here on the floor, maybe you're taking your yoga block and pushing that top leg away as you vigorously push into the bottom foot, toes towards your knee, squeezy behind as best you can. Breathing in, breathing out. Just breathe. Oh, I'm getting kind of stuffy because I've been laying on my back a little bit here. Well, you know, I had COVID here a couple weeks ago. Got over it quick, but, you know, I still kind of have like sinus drainage. But it could be the oak trees because there's so much yellow on my car from all the pollen. So I think that's what it is the pollen. Oh, my gosh. Woo! And release. Yay! Relax the foot, bounce the leg, kind of come out of it in reverse, you know. Let me check our time here. Okay. And then we're going to take the leg back up into the air and wiggle. Or maybe it's on the floor and you're wiggling it, however you want to do it. And side to side. Wiggle, 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 side to side. And you know what? Let's do a windshield wiper while we're here. So both feet, either on the yoga block or on the floor, drop a knee out to the side. Notice how that feels. And do the other one, top one, towards the bottom one. Ooh, man, I'm rolling off almost completely. I'm almost rolling off the other bun in doing the windshield wiper this time. Squeeze the belly button towards the spine, top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Use your hands if necessary. Let's go over to the other side. So drop it out to the side. That just feels wonderful for that kind of hip complex. And then the top leg towards the bottom leg. And again, I'm sliding my hand underneath. So I've got all that bun off and then a little bit of the other bun. So I've increased my low lumbar twists motion just with, you know, the movements we're doing. Squeeze the belly button, take top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center, and I'm going to go back onto the yoga mat. And we're going to do the notice pose again. So extend your legs out towards the corners of the yoga mat or on the back of the heels seated on the chair. Wiggle those feet, wiggle those shoulders, and just kind of notice how you might feel melty, yeah, or kind of more connected to the floor. We're going to do block bridge, and then we'll end up with the 6 essential spinal movements before we go into the guided rest and gratitude practice. So you're here in the chair, you're taking your yoga block and pressing your behind low on the yoga block. Maybe it's the tall version, maybe it's the wider version. So I don't have a back on my chair, so it wouldn't work for me. So, you know, do what you can, right? Slide a foot onto the yoga mat, then the other. You're going to lift your behind off the floor. If you're laying on your back, lift it up, slide that block underneath, and then kind of walk your upper body away. Because I always feel crunchy when I do this. In other words, it doesn't feel like my spine is lengthened because I'm on that yoga block. So this is good for pelvic prolapse because you're working gravity in a different direction. The rectum, the bladder, the male, the female parts works it a different way. And we're going to go ahead and bring a leg up into the air and shake. So it may not be very far off the ground when you're doing this seated on the chair, okay? And you're really scooted back into the back of the chair, side to side. And then shake it again. And let's slowly bring that leg down. You may notice some sensation going on. Let's do the other one. Bring the other one up and shake, shake, shake. And then wiggle it side to side. My belly wiggles too when I do this. It's kind of funny. Shake, shake, shake. All right, let's bring them both up if you can. This is challenging seated on the chair. Yeah, it can be done though. But just be, you know, make it feel okay with your body, all right? And then shake side to side. So again, we're kind of encouraging blood flow from the toes back to the heart. This lessens also edema, swelling in the ankles and the feet, kind of working upside down. This is accessible to most folks, okay? You can do this on the bed or the couch, maybe a harder surface like the couch. All right, bring one foot down, then the other, because we're kind of working in a vertical. We're not going out to the side, so that's kind of beneficial there. Woo! Now I'm going to walk my feet towards the block and press into the floor, raise up. Maybe I use my hand to help me. Bring that block up and out and roll my spine down. Oh my. And then from here, Let's do the notice pose. So extend one leg, shake it out a little bit, then the other. You should notice it feeling a little different here. Yeah. Squeeze the belly button towards your spine, feet back onto the yoga mat. Those of us that are on the floor, raise up a little bit, then come over onto your side. That's to avoid getting that SI joint pain if you kind of have the SI joint out of alignment. Hand in front of you, top leg extend, come up either to your forearm. Sometimes we can feel dizzy when we come up off the floor to upright. And then come to sitting on your behind, either in the chair. Now I'm going to stay on the floor. I'm going to grab my yoga blanket, and then I have it folded up into thirds. I'm going to come up and sit on the edge of the yoga blanket. That helps me to breathe better because I always feel like I'm like rolling towards, my posture is not good if I don't have a lifted surface. So I'm going to take, again, the edge of the blanket and then sit my behind on that edge. So again, that allows me to tilt my pelvis forward, and I feel like I'm able to breathe a little bit easier. Again, that's easier for my back challenges. We're going to do cat-cow. So, come to the edge of your chair, come sitting on your the floor. You can also do this standing, but I'm going to have my hands on my knees. I'm going to breathe in, belly out. And as I exhale, I'm going to contract my belly button and curve to the back of the room or the back of the chair. Whew, I feel like my muscles are like peeling away from my spiny bones. Now, this is where it might get spicy because we're kind of coming from a pelvic tilt to a neutral spine. So first, breathe in, belly big. Contract the belly button. Slowly come out of cat into a tall posture. So sometimes that can get a little spicy. Take it slow, okay? Let's do cow pose, which is a forward fold, basically, a hinging from the hip. Think about, the door, you kind of go forward and back. We're going to breathe in, belly big. Exhale, belly button tight, hinge forward. Now I bring my elbows out to the side to invite a hinge forward. Now keep my eyes looking forward. I don't drop my chin towards my chest or my chin towards the ceiling. Ears above, aligned with the tops of my shoulders. Especially if you have kyphosis or excessive cervical spine curvature, dowager's hump, that kind of thing. You don't want to curve more, make it more curvy, okay? I hope that makes sense. All right, from here, breathe in, belly big, and then exhale back to tall, seated mountain. I'm going to show this forward now. I'm going to switch my feet, make it feel better on my feet. And again, breathe in, belly big, and then curve the spine to the back of the room. Now I hang on to my shins. Ooh, it feels nice. I'm just like, spreading those muscles away. Again, breathe in, belly big. Now very slowly, I'm pelvic tilting back to a neutral spine called mountain posture. Woo, stay here, breathe in, belly big. And I'm going to bend my elbows out to the side as I hinge forward. And again, I'm trying to keep the bottoms of my ears aligned with the tops of my shoulders. So I'm not, again, doing the chin to the chest or chin towards the sky. I don't do any movement with the head and the neck. Yeah? All right, so here we go. Breathe in, belly big. And then come back up to that neutral spine. Very good. Well, let's do side lateral flexion next. You know what? My knee's feeling spicy, so I'm going to support it with that block. I like to have 2 yoga blocks just because, it's way over in the other side of the room, but I don't need it right now, but sometimes I need that little extra support under both knees. Gentlemen typically are more tight in their hips than the women are for, whatever reasons, right? So here we go. We're going to do side lateral flexion. So we're going to breathe in, belly big, arms circle up, and then exhale. Keep one hand up, one hand either on the chair, or if you're on the floor, sneak it behind you maybe. You can be on your fist or your wrist. And again, inhale, reach towards the sky. Belly big, belly button tight, lean that side body over. Now you can have that back arm hand on the chair for support here if you want to go a little deeper into the posture. Side lateral flexion. Now try to have where my top ribs are not turning towards the floor, so I'm trying to stack my ribs, if that makes sense. If I were to turn my nose, there it is. There's my armpit. So here we go. Breathe in, go back to the top position. And then exhale, float that arm down. Let's do the other side. So here we go. Inhale, circle, sweep both arms up. All right, hand on the chair, maybe back behind you, or hand on the floor, maybe back behind you. Squeeze that shoulder, and then once again, inhale, reach, 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 reach. Belly button tight. As you exhale, lean that side body over. Again, you can use that back arm for a little bit of support here. Woo! Breathe in, go back to that top position. Exhale, float it down. Very good. Let's just do a little something for dowager's hub. We're going to squeeze the shoulders towards our ears. So squeeze them up. You should feel the squeeze of the armpits here. So squeezy, squeezy, squeezy. Looks weird. I know. And then we're going to turn halfway to the side, and your chin stays aligned with your chest. So turn. So this is also considered to be an unsupported twist. And then relax it all down and bring everything back to the center. So we're going to do that again. We do those shoulder roll holds. So here we go. Up, up, up. Hold. Hold, hold, hold. And then shift over to the other side. It's a version of an unsupported twist. Looks strange, right? And then relax, release it down. Oof, bring it back to the center. Okay, so the next one is unsupported twist. I just mentioned that. We did the cat-cow, we did the side lateral flexion, and we did the dowager hump strengthener thing. Let's do unsupported twist. So arms out into a letter T. And then bend at the elbows, palms facing forward, so you feel the squeeze of the upper back musculature, those shoulders coming in towards one another. Keep this squeezy shoulder business going on. Now again, we're going to turn it over to the side. Our chin is aligned with our chest as we use our thoracic spine only to twist, okay? So squeezy shoulders. First, breathe in, belly big. Now belly button tight, contract that belly and twist over to one direction. Now I usually lose the outside shoulder, but I re-squeeze it. And then here we go. Breathe in, belly big. Squeeze back to the center and release. Woo! Kind of pump those shoulders up and down. This is another way to do lymphatic drainage, starting with the collarbone. It's called the shoulder shuffle. So just do this for a little easing of tension in the front and upper back muscles, and just kind of shake it out. Let's do the other side. So arms, letter T, palms forward, bend the elbows, squeeze. So here's your letter W. Let's do the unsupported twist on the other side. So breathe in, belly big. Squeeze the shoulders if you haven't already, and turn to the other side. Ooh, I twisted more. I think. I don't know. Anyway, breathe in, belly big, squeeze both shoulders. And exhale, return back to the center and release. Woo! Beautiful. Okay. Let's go to a comfortable place. Maybe that's lying on your back, knees bent. Maybe that's scooting back into the chair. Maybe it's getting on the couch. We're going to do the guided rest and relaxation part. Now, what some of us like to do with that chair, I've got the air conditioner on today, so I probably would take the blanket and cover up my feet, my torso, but I'm going to take my chair, turn it sideways, and I'm going to cartwheel my legs on top of the chair. And why do I do that? Again, it's another opportunity to be in that constructive rest pose, but with that traction feeling. So I'm going to bring the legs on the chair, and then I'm scooting my booty away from the chair. Maybe I'll cross at the ankles so I know the legs won't come flopping to the ground. And I just kind of adjust here. Maybe the hands are out to the side, or just, bending the elbows placed on my torso. I can gaze at the ceiling, or maybe I gaze, more towards my knees, or close my eyes. Again, I invite you to get comfortable. As you're getting comfortable, I'm going to come up to the front of the room and do our guided rest and relaxation practice. You might need to shake a leg, wiggle an arm out, depending how this feels for you today. So I do a little rotation of consciousness, or a contrasting kind of a relaxation. You'll find similar things at the yoga nidra practices that we have every evening. So if I'm here, I just want you to notice your breath. Don't change it in any way. Just notice, what does it feel like to breathe here? What places in your body are moving? As you breathe in, and as you breathe out, listen to that breath. Let's do that again. Listen as it goes in through the nostril tips. Breathe in and breathe out. Relax those shoulders. Maybe you need to wiggle an arm. Do the same with the other one. Maybe you need to kind of wiggle those toes, extend a leg out, extend the other leg out. However it is, get comfortable. Yeah, very good. So notice, we're going to do contrast today. Notice the sensation of support. So you're either seated here on the chair or lying on your back in some kind of configuration. So you're noticing what places in your body are being supported by the surface beneath you. So maybe it's the bottoms of the feet, maybe it's the back of the ankles, the calves, the thighs, the buttocks, the low back, mid, upper back. Maybe it's the back of the head. Maybe it's the back of the arms if the arms are out to the side of the body. Again, just notice the places that are being supported by the surface beneath you. Now let's turn that into feeling very weighted, very heavy, very grounded into that surface that's supporting you. So those, again, are in the places of the back side of the body. Now let's flip that to the front places of the body. So here you might notice the air coming across the arms, the hands, maybe the neck, the face, where you might have a blanket on you. Who knows, right? But again, notice the arms are light, the legs are light, the whole front side of the body light as a feather, as if you're floating up towards the sky. Contrast feeling light in the front places of the body with feeling supported, weighted with the back places of the body. And then going back to the front places of the body, feeling light and feathery. And then going to the back places of the body, feeling supported, feeling grounded. Good. Once again, notice your breath. Beautiful. If you're lying on your back, if your legs are on the chair, take them off the chair. If you're lying with your legs straight, bend the knees. Maybe you can bring one knee into the chest and then the other, and then just kind of roll side to side. If you're here way back in your chair, seated, come forward on your chair a little bit. Have the knees be wide, and then start those upper body shoulder circles. So again, if you're lying on your back, knee circles, get a little movement in that low back, and you're seated on the chair, wide shoulder circles. My chair squeaks. Of course, right? And then let's pause and go the other direction, whether you're lying on your back, whether you're here seated on the chair. And then come back to a neutral position. If you're laying here on your back, go ahead and roll over onto your side. Gently, slowly, come up to a seated place. Everybody join me here, chin towards the chest, because sometimes we can feel dizzy when we go from horizontal to vertical. So let's kind of join here in the same place. Very good. Now lift the chin to gaze forward. We're going to do what's called the elongated exhale. So this is good for lowering blood pressure and lowering the heart rate. What I'll do is we'll breathe in and I'll clap to a count of 4. We'll pause and then we'll exhale to a count of 5. So again, that elongated exhale helps invoke lowering the blood pressure, lessening the heart rate. Great for when you're going into the doctor's office and getting your blood pressure taken if you're kind of on the border, yeah? So let's prepare. So let's breathe in, belly big. Pause, slowly exhale. Pausing, big old breath right here, belly big. Slowly, slowly exhale. One more time. Breathe in, belly big. Slowly exhale. Good. From here, just kind of shake the hands, shake the feet, shoulders shake. Maybe take the hands, stretch one direction, hips go the other. And then come back to the center. Do the same with the other side. Kind of stretch and back to the center. Then join me, hands either stacked at your heart or hands together for the gratitude practice. So let's think about one thing that we're grateful for, or at least maybe an idea of gratitude. And grab whatever you're thankful for, place it into your heart space, and then maybe drop your chin towards your chest in gratitude of just showing up today. Good. We'll do our traditional ending phrases that we do in the classes I teach. So you can lift your eyes open, gazing forward or closed. You get to choose. So the light in me honors and respects the light in you. So let's take the peace, the strength, and the understanding, and that little attitude of gratitude, and let's pass it on. Namaste. Which means the bright light in me honors and respects the bright light in you. This concludes our practice of gentle yoga for back care,